So there are a lot of things which we see before we end up hiring people. One of the most important aspects we look is the soft skills part of the people. Where, let's say, I'll name a few soft skills which are really crucial. A person definitely needs to have a good way of thinking critically, think out of the box. Communication is super important purely because there are so many different stakeholders involved in general across any other digital transformations. You need to have a way of creatively solving the problems. Think totally in a different direction, realize that it could be a different way of figuring out the answers to a problem. Collaboration is super important, again, because of the different teams you need to be involving in. Emotional intelligence, the EQ aspect, where a person is aware of his own self, the self-regulation, the social skills, empathy, motivation. Then flexibility and adaptability is crucial. Productivity, of course, is very, very important because in such times when you believe that you have to sit in your home and then do the work, a person should be feeling that, yes, I have to give a good result even if I'm at home. And he feels accountable for what he does, right? So I think the softer aspect is one part, which we definitely look out for, seeing that whether the person has it in him or her to really make it work in a corporate environment, right? If the soft skills are met, that's one level of clearing. But then there are a lot of other factors with respect to the way we look on purely from the digital transformation front, right? Now, at the entry level, there are quite a lot of interesting openings in general in the market, which are related to, let's say, IT support, which are related to data analytics, the project management. A lot is also about the UX design, the user experience design for, let's say, websites, mobile apps, Android development. And now we always have, at the entry level especially, we always feel that if a person has a skill set which is on the software side taken care of, but he has taken effort on embracing any of such basic courses, which not essentially are taught in the universities, right? But then these courses are very easily available if you go on to the, let's say, Google certifications or the Facebook certifications. Such courses are available for them to at least kickstart the way they have to assimilate into the corporate culture. And these are the jobs which are very easy to finally find at an entry-level scenario. And things completely change when you, of course, rise up in the seniority level. So I believe that from the perspective of what people really should think of, they should think of both sides, on the softer side and as well as on the technical side. It is not really technical. If you really ask me whether project management requires any technicality or technical knowledge, know-how, not really. These are a lot of things which you learn. Early times, people used to learn about this while being on the job. Now there are courses available which you can still learn and then be ready for the corporate environment. Coming to the second question, that how we find such people. So again, there are different ways of how we end up recruiting across the group companies. So, there are ways of whether people are approaching us through, it could be LinkedIn, it could be coming through the corporate website for the companies, it could be a referral, it could be a campus recruitment drives. So there are different ways of how things work. But essentially, it all boils down to having the right talent for the right level of skill set for the right role, essentially. And such things always are easier to find generally at our entry level, but then starts becoming difficult as and when you rise up the ladder. Right? But I believe for the university students, if you really ask me, as long as people can develop their softer part, which is not so easy, it's not very straightforward. If I tell you that, you need to improve your communication, you just can't do it in a few weeks or months. You need to really put in a lot of efforts over the years to make yourself really fit for the corporate level of communication. And a lot of softer skills which I talked about, you need to practice them as you build up your character, as you build up yourself. Right? On the other hand, the technical part or the part which you can really learn quicker is what you should really focus on with respect to the courses available online these days. There are so many good courses available on, let's say, even for that matter, dpuni.org, where we have listed a lot of good courses across the world, coming from MITs and the Harvards, which are available at free of cost. We definitely encourage a lot of students to go on through those websites and the courses, learn, and be ready for the future. So I think as long as all the students can take care of these two different sides, they would do wonders to start off their career. And then it's all about persistence and their effort to rise up. So, like I said, digital transformation preaching is on one side, but if you cannot implement it, then there is no point in talking about the digital transformation. I've seen it across multiple companies, across the board, across the world, where people do want to do it, but then there's always a reluctance, a hedge in general, with a faction of people to say, hey, should we invest in something like this, which we do not know of the end result clearly today. But I think it's all about moving with the future. It's all about looking into the change which people are going through. Look at the youth today, look at their way of interacting with the businesses, how they are approaching the businesses. The way things used to happen earlier are not happening today. Today, if a person wants to buy anything, he would probably search or have a touch point with a company in 6 or 7 different ways. Think about a social media, think about people are talking to each other all across, right? I believe as long as people are aware of how the future is evolving, as long as they understand that they have to follow the path and the curve where they have to continuously evolve with respect to how future is bringing in different ways of doing the business, then they need to have a way of strategizing their complete digital journey for the organization and find the right partners who would have already done something like this across the world, which is very, very crucial, right? Do not, sometimes you might want to be the first mover, which is great, but that first mover is always someone who takes a lot of risk. But then if you really see, today, if you want to do any change, you would have already have a lot of examples where companies across the world would have done it. So you don't really need to be the first mover in general across the board. So as long as you can understand the way future is driving towards and find the right partners to evolve your strategy and how you can execute the project, which is super crucial. Without that, it won't work. So I think that's where the direction should be for any of the companies. And as long as you do it, you would be successful.